Welcome to News Politics. Former President Donald Trump has been undermining his 2024 bid through a series of self-inflicted political wounds suffered each before and since launching his campaign, doing for his opponents within the Republican institution what they're weak to do themselves. Before we continue, please support us by clicking on the subscription button and turn on the notification bell for more reliable updates. Trump declared his White House bid November 15, solely to envision his poll numbers drop precipitously versus Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida in a very theoretic matchup within the Republican presidential primary. The reasons behind the former president's fall are many. Legal setbacks, political failures, and politically charged statements, principally spoken via Truth Social, the Twitter-like social media platform he founded, to call a few. Nonetheless, all are the fault of a shared culprit: Trump. The supposed GOP institution and even the opposite presidential primary candidates don't have to be compelled to fight Trump. He's self-destructing all on his own, said Jim Dornan, a Republican operative in Washington typically crucial of the 45th president. The Trump campaign is shrugging off the former president's critics and doubters. Demand his bid for a second term within the White House is on target heading into 2023. Indeed, Trump was impeached double by the House, though not guilty by the Senate, and he has survived myriad scandals which may have downed the other politician, Democrat or Republican. Despite years of fake news coverage and massive tech meddling in associate degree election, President Trump has been the most dominant force in political history, and anyone who doubts him does so at their political peril, Trump campaign representative Stephen Chung said. President Trump has spent the last 6 years leading the MAGA movement and serving to elect America First candidates across the country, he added. There is no one who has worked more durable to advance the conservative movement. Trump commenced his third consecutive presidential bid with a perceptibly low-energy speech from Mar-a-Lago, his residence and personal social club in Palm Beach, Florida, 1 week when midterm elections that saw Republicans come back up short within their bid to recapture the Senate and just barely win control of the House. The GOP conjointly lost governor's races that after looked promising. Several Republicans blamed Trump, as well as establishment figures and grassroots activists encouraging of the former president. Trump is taking heat for endorsing blemished candidates in the 2022 primaries who attain his support because they vowed loyalty to the former president, not because they were viable in the general election. In key races, for example, Arizona governor and a Georgia Senate seat, those candidates lost to their Democratic opponents. Trump is also vulnerable for continued to gripe regarding his 2020 loss to President Joe Biden, messaging rejected by crucial freelance voters. Then there are Trump's legal challenges, as well as a federal investigation run by a special counsel into his possession of classified documents since going the White House, and his potential culpableness within the January 6, 2021, hunt of the Capitol and makes an attempt to overturn the last presidential election. And so there are the provocative statements Trump is understood for, though his recent need termination of the Constitution was troubling, even by his high customary for controversy. Multiple polls conducted since Trump made his 2024 bid official show him losing to Biden in a very election and to DeSantis within the primary and by wide margins. Surveys conjointly show simple fraction of Republican primary voters need recent leadership atop the party. Putting aside the rather vital vulnerabilities the former president has round the 20 elections, making an attempt to overturn the results, January 6, and therefore the multitude of legal problems, I feel the most important issue Trump has going into 24 is that he's a loser, a veteran GOP operative said. He's mostly taken care of himself while not the institution doing anything. The question that keeps arising among several Democrats and casual political observers is why, with all of Trump's liabilities, the Republican Party's leading establishment figures don't work along to kneecap the former president together and block him from the 2024 nomination. If Trump's early announcement was speculated to discourage different Republicans from running for president, that doesn't seem to be happening. Many are mulling a campaign, as well as his former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, his former vice president, Mike Pence, and his former Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, not to mention DeSantis. In different words, the GOP has no shortage of serious, viable different contenders to coalesce behind. The answer is that the Republican institution isn't monolithic. This supposed cabal includes Trump, who remains the titular head of the GOP. And although the former president was ostracized by other prime Republicans, the time of the smoky room, once party power brokers controlled campaign funding and infrastructure and wielded the influence to elevate and sideline candidates, is long past. Social media, cable television news, and digital fundraising permit candidates to go straight to the grassroots. That dynamic is particularly pronounced within the Republican Party, though it's no less an element within the Democratic Party. Republicans are the smallest amount herdable cat nature has ever produced. Any and every one makes an attempt to herd them, causes them to do the opposite, said GOP strategian Brad Todd, co-author of The Nice Revolt. Within the populist coalition reshaping U.S. politics. To the extent voted Republicans are the establishment, they don't have any sway at all. Despite the challenges Trump has created for himself, he's still the contender for the Republican nomination and a formidable political figure. His floor of loyal elector support in the GOP remains remarkably high, at around 30%, enough to advance if the 2024 primary is crowded. Trump for the last 2 years designed an oversized campaign war chest with the political committees he controls or specifically aligned with him. News nearly $100 million in cash available in late November. And Trump boasts of expertise no Republican contestant will claim. 4 years operating within the Oval Office. Meanwhile, the non-fungible token trading cards, artificially scarce digital objects, mocked by Trump critics and supporters, alike sold out within an hour of hit the market. Thanks for watching. Let us know your view in the comments section below.